Hello, everyone. On behalf of IBM Systems Magazine, I'd like to welcome you to our presentation. My name is Janine Donnelly. I am the manager of webinars for IBM Systems Magazine, and I will be the moderator for today's event. We will be holding a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. You may ask a question at any time during the event by entering it into the Q&A panel. If you experience technical difficulties during the webinar, please use the Q&A panel to alert us, and someone will assist you. You may download a PDF version of the slide deck by clicking on the drop-down menu labeled Event Resources on the left side of your screen. Today's webinar, Rethinking the Mainframe Talent Drain, is sponsored by Ensono. Today's featured speakers are Ken Harper and Christy Schroeder. Ken is a 20-year veteran of Ensono and is currently product leader for mainframe services and products. Ken loves his job because it gives him the opportunity to work with people who believe that the improbable and sometimes even the impossible can be done. He enjoys being part of a thought-leading leadership team that is transforming traditional mainframe outsourcing into a new type of business that's more focused on client success and transformational business drivers. IBM's Christy Schroeder has over 20 years of experience on the Z Systems platform. From enabling ISVs on Z Systems, managing ZOS development teams, and presenting Z Systems hardware to clients, she's been focused on building the Z ecosystem. Her current role as the worldwide Z Systems Skills Offering Manager extends that focus by educating clients on IBM's offerings to help them find, attract, train, and retain enterprise talent. Joining Ken and Christy today are a panel of millennials now working on the mainframe, or working in the mainframe space. From Ensono, Andrew Meister and Stephen Boyd, both are graduates of Northern Illinois University. And from IBM, Andrew Hicks, Clarkson University, and Louisa Martinez, graduate of SUNY. So we're looking forward to getting their perspective on some of the issues we'll be discussing today. Without further ado, and with our introductions complete, Ken, I'll turn the presentation over to you.
Thanks, Janine. First off, I'd like to thank IBM Systems Magazine for hosting this webinar and allowing us to share an update around the diminishing mainframe workforce. For those of you who don't know, Ensono is an IT outsourcing company that delivers complete hybrid IT services from cloud to mainframe, which we tailor around our clients' needs to support their business. Our mantra is operate today and optimize for tomorrow. And I'd like to thank all of you for attending this afternoon. Today we're going to discuss the changes in the workforce demographics and the IT industry in general, programs in place to stay ahead of these changes, a new perspective on recruiting, onboarding, and retention, and to hear from our panel of millennials. Along those words of optimizing for tomorrow, this afternoon's discussion is really continuing the conversation from last year's session when Christy and I co-presented the mainframe baby boomer exodus. It seems the more things change, the more they stay the same. Since last year, after presenting and attending mainframe conferences, participating on panels, and talking directly to mainframe organizations, the concern for replacing the rapidly retiring workforce is more apparent than ever before. Mainframers are continuing to lead the workforce at a more rapid pace as each year really brings them closer to their magic number of a retirement age, or in this past year, some of the positive marketing gains enriching the retirement funds and savings plans. From an industry perspective, IBM continues to ship more MIPS, more middleware, and continuation of developing additional features and products on the mainframe. ISVs have embarked on investing additional software features and functions with millennial-friendly GUI front ends, additionally taking more advantage of zip engines. This past year, as an industry, we witnessed really an increase of digital transformation activity as corporations forge ahead with projects to improve their customer experience with availability, speed, delivery, and that includes interactions with all the other apps and their business partners. So the good news is that the mainframe is still the foundational platform that keeps the global economy clicking. What kind of remains the same is the need to continually ensure we maintain a workforce that continues to support the mainframe for today and for tomorrow. Thanks. The reliance on support on the mainframe for availability, speed, and delivery, and security support business from all industries has never been higher. The demand will only continue to increase as IBM continues with their development on new or existing mainframe workloads, such as earlier this year when they announced mainframe learning on the mainframe, blockchain, MongoDB, Spark, all these products that are supported by Java on the mainframe. Next week's announcement of the new Z processor will no doubt provide more mainframe enterprise value, optimizing the platform for tomorrow's workloads. CIOs and CTOs are re-recognizing the importance of their mainframe environments and really have begun optimizing. They are doing this by reassessing the technology and process, creating hybrid technology environments that include a combination of the mainframe infrastructure along with other platforms with updated software development and software tools to affirm their products and services. This notion of frictionless delivery is now table stakes as competition continues to heat up in the mobile economy. IDC recently reported that IT transformation budgets in the banking industry alone will spend close to $20 billion in 2017, which is about 40% of IT budgets. This will only continue to grow into 2020. Ensono continues to undergo our own transformation in mainframe services. The past 18 months, we experienced amazing success with signing on 12 new mainframe clients, resulted in doubling our MIPS and LPARs, and increasing our support services in the KICS, database storage, and other mainframe operational teams. This year, we added mainframe remote hosting and DBA application services, and in September, we'll launch our mainframe services in the UK market. The increased workload was a taxing event and will continue to be a focus for all of our mainframe support teams as we close new mainframe business. Along with this increase in mainframe business, we experienced an unprecedented 6 retirements from our mainframe staff, all of which were 20-year-plus veterans and were subject matter experts in their specific field supporting the mainframe. These two dynamics of increased business requirements and retirements literally stressed our succession plan, but I'm happy to report that we were able to adequately backfill each of those positions with an able-bodied, well-prepared, next-generation mainframer. As we continue to build and develop new mainframe products and markets, all mainframe shops need to ensure our succession plans are in line to keep pace with demand. That calls for changing tactics and improving the process to get our millennials ready to deploy in a timely manner. Today, you are going to hear from 4 awesome millennials from 2 different mainframe business perspectives, Ensono and IBM, that are going to provide real-world best practices for you to support your mainframe environments. Christy?
Thanks, Ken. I'm going to talk about all of the great new programs and offerings that we've created as part of our Z Skills team over the past year. Now, all of the previous programs that you've come to know and love are still out there, but we've really created a lot of new offerings, so that's what I'm going to focus this piece on. There's a lot to cover, so let's jump into it. First, I want to discuss the Mainframe Apprenticeship Program. You may be aware that as of June 15th, the President signed an executive order saying that he was going to double the amount of spending the government was putting into apprenticeship programs. This is fantastic news. In fact, we were ahead of the curve, and we were working with North Carolina A&T, one of our academic initiative universities where they're teaching enterprise computing to their students, and they put forth a proposal to the Department of Labor. Their proposal was accepted, and they were awarded a $7.5 million contract. The goal of the contract is to increase the number of underrepresented minorities and women in STEM programs with a focus on building mainframe skills. Now, for all of our clients, they should be really excited about this because we have and are building this great mainframe apprenticeship program. The offerings will be 18 months up to 2 years, depending on the job track that the person is going to be going through. It's going to be an earn and learn program, so as the person is going through learning about mainframe, they will also be earning money. So we're very excited about this program, and if any of the clients out there are interested in being one of the clients to participate, we'll be rolling this out in the fall and certainly going into the beginning of 2018. So I'm very thrilled that we are right in the forefront of building a mainframe apprenticeship program. We also have these in the UK as well, and have been working with Barclays and Lloyd's with the University of Bedfordshire and another university as well. So that's our mainframe apprenticeship program. Another great offering that we created just a few months ago was this Enterprise Computing Kickstart offering. This is specifically for students. We partnered with InterSkill, a premier provider of e-learning for mainframe, and we're offering 44 hours to training for any student who wants to participate. The offering is on the hub, and I would like to point out that at the end of this presentation deck, there is a reference page with links to some of these programs that I'm referring to. So if you have a student, then they would be able to access the link. Now, topics that are covered as part of this Kickstart offering are COBOL, ZOS of course, JCL, DevOps, DB2, and at the end of the course offering, the student is awarded an open badge. What I love about open badges is that they could put them on their social media page, their LinkedIn page, their resume, but as an employer, unlike a certificate where it's just written, on an open badge, you can actually click on the badge and see all the courses that were taken that allowed the person to achieve that badge. So it really gives you a great accountability and comfort in what was actually taken and what skills were learned in order to achieve that badge. It's also a great way to be able to search for people and candidates. So if you're looking for clients or you're looking for possible new hires, then you would be able to search on a particular badge with mainframe and find that type of talent. So I'm very excited also about the Enterprise Computing Kickstart offering that we have. Another thing that we recently started was our Advocacy Hub. This is a way to build an engaging community. We want to really build the ecosystem and reward people in a fun and engaging way by participating. So when you go out to the Advocacy Hub, you could read some of the notes, or you could read about some of the documentation, such as blockchain or Spark, and you end up earning coins for it. If you go out and you talk to your alma mater and help at a school, sponsor a hackathon, do a Master the Mainframe contest, again, you can earn coins for it. It's fun and engaging. There's a leaderboard on the side, so you can see how you're doing in regards to other people participating in the community. And we're looking at, as you increase the number of coins, you might be able to turn those in for prizes. So it's a fun and engaging way to get people more involved in Z and build a community. Another program that we started last year, we actually did the very inaugural one in December, is a ZOS internship program. Now, this is similar, as some of you may know, there's an IMS internship program. And clients came back to us and said, hey, why aren't you offering something similar on the ZOS side? So we listened to our clients, and we developed this program. It's 5 days of free training. People come to Poughkeepsie in order to do it, and we have our subject matter experts present on topics such as parallel sysplex, GDPR, security. It runs the gamut of all ZOS topics. Now, these courses are not intended for beginners. We're really looking to take skills to the next level, so we ask people to have at least 2 years' experience in order to participate in this internship program. Now, the other great benefit of having people come to Poughkeepsie for this training is twofold. One, for the networking, because as I mentioned, you have all of our subject matter experts coming and participating, and they get to see and build relationships with people in the Poughkeepsie lab. So if they have questions in the future, they know who they can contact. In addition, we also have the opportunity to take them on tours. We take them over to our manufacturing tour, our system test tours, and we also introduce them through all of our recent hires that we have and did a really nice networking event out of it. The next COS internship is coming up in the middle of October. Another program that we have is a ZOS MOOC, Massive Open Online Course. Now, I have to put a caveat on here. It's actually being offered in Germany for the first time, and we even need to update the number. Right now, we're up to over 2,700 people participating in this program. It's a 6-week offering, and as I mentioned, it's online. The good news about this is that we're looking to make this available in English as well. So I'm hoping next year that we'll have this MOOC in English. One thing I wanted to mention, I'm going to backtrack a little, in regards to the Enterprise Computing Kickstart offering, where it really becomes of value to you as a client. If you're bringing in a summer intern or a co-op, what a great way to start their training, but by registering them in the 44 hours of free training. So as a client, try and take advantage and leverage that for some of your summer co-ops and interns. With that, I'm going to move to the next chart and talk about some of our additional programs and offerings. I hear from clients all the time, and they want to know how can they get access to an environment on ZOS. Well, while we don't have a complete full ZOS operating system available, we are developing a trial program environment. Now, these are at no cost. There's no setup and there's no installation on your part, but you would be able to do some trials with some of our latest and greatest technology. You can see here, DevOps, Cloud, Analytics. With the Analytics part, it's Apache Spark on ZOS. So you could go out to these trial programs and test it out. There are hands-on tutorials to help you along as well, and they're pre-configured environments. We will be adding on to these trial programs. In the works, we have DB2, KICS, IMS, and there will certainly be others coming up in the future. So go out and leverage our trial program. We have made tremendous advances in our skills website. We want to make this information as accessible and as available as possible to anybody who needs it. So we created the website and divided it into sections: learn, teach, and employ. So if you want any information on how to learn more about the mainframe, all of the resources are there. For our professors who participate in our Z Academic Initiative program and they're interested in the resources and how do they get a system access, how do they get the course material, they could go out under that section and reference it. For the employers on the phone and our clients, we really created a helpful employer reference guide. Now, I created that guide, and there are over 120 links out there for you to access. So if you want to understand what are the free training options that are available for you to leverage, what are some interesting articles from Millennials, and what are they saying about working on the mainframe, you could go access them. How do I post jobs so that I could find some of these recruits? There's links to our Jobs Connector site. If you want to do a certificate program through Marist or LearnQuest, who offers certificate programs, there are links out there. So it's a really helpful employer reference guide for you to access off of our Z-Skills website. Take advantage of it. Of course, our Master the Mainframe really is the heart of the Academic Initiative program, and it continues to be so. We've had over 10,000 participants just in the past year, and we're going to be coming out with some really exciting new news about this contest. So you're going to want to keep your ears open to hear some of these exciting changes where we will be expanding this contest. In addition, we are looking at doing another World Championship where we take the best of the best from all around the world and have them compete in our Ultimate Master the Mainframe contest. Finally, I'll mention, of course, our Z Academic Initiative schools. We are always working with clients and the schools to build new programs where we can teach enterprise computing. Worldwide, we have over 1,000 schools, and if you have a school in your area that you would like to start working with, please reach out to us, and we'll be happy to become engaged with them. Now, with that, I'm going to turn it over to one of our recent hires, Andrew Hicks, who does a fantastic job of going out to his alma mater as well as some other schools, and he's going to give you hints, tips, and ideas on recruiting millennials. Andrew?
Oh, why, thank you, Christy. So one of the keys with recruiting millennials is setting up a good relationship with the schools. By having the good relationship, you can start off by attending their career fairs, going to the events, and guest lecturing, but that's just the beginning. You need to make your company's name present on campus. So if you can go talk about some of the innovative projects you're doing, any of the new research you're implementing at the time, so that when the students go to a career fair, they're not looking up companies currently to apply, but they know your company's name. They come and say, hi, I know what you do. I'd like to work with what you're doing, and take that approach into it. I know personally where I chose to work on mainframe technologies and IBM was based on a fellow classmate who got a job at IBM, came back and spoke about system testing for a living, and it enthralled me, and that was part of the focus that drove me here. On that, when you emphasize different career aspects and opportunities, most enterprise companies do amazing, amazing pieces of work that most startups don't even have privy to. There is entire options into testing code, validating code, different ways of service, which in the standard run-of-the-mill of what you learn in college isn't always articulated, that these jobs are stuff that you can really pursue a full, long, and fulfilling career in. So really focusing on the full aspect of your company and what you offer that can differentiate you from all the other companies out there. Promoting the system capabilities is always fun, especially with something as a Z. I know from personal experience, when you say we have 10 terabytes of memory on the system, and students correct you saying, oh, you mean RAM, or 10 terabytes of RAM on the system, and say, oh, you mean a hard drive, and you say, no, that's RAM, that's real memory, and you see all their eyes light up. Like, while some of us, after so many years in the industry, take that as a commonplace, this is pretty breathtaking to a lot of students and people in academia. So definitely focusing on our strengths as a platform is for sure a way to draw interest. Also, when looking for candidates, I know, especially in this industry, you're looking for more of the people who enjoy learning and like to take on learning things independently, take on the initiative. So students who have gone into a master's program or looked into a continual education or a great fit. And it's not always the standard things of, oh, yes, you're a computer scientist, but can you problem solve? Some of these, especially these skill sets, are really useful, and we've noticed that people who have these tend to fall into a position on mainframe technologies and just love working there for a whole career and just go, wow, I never thought I would have liked this as much as I did, and just feel right at home. Now, how do you get these students? You need to articulate how you offer the jobs. Just saying, oh, I'm looking for a COBOL programmer, or I'm looking for a tester, that's not as grabbing. You need to articulate what they're doing. Oh, you're going to be using COBOL to access a back-end database and interacting with DB2 to surface something to a mobile app. So you've added in this whole use case, this whole value, so they can see right off the bat that by coming to a company, they can make an impact using the knowledges that they have learned in college and combining it with new knowledge that they will learn in your industry and with your company. And then lastly, which is something that I am beyond an advocate for and I've spent a lot of time doing, is sending recent hires to recruit. If you obtain a new hire who is a star, you really like their fit in the company, they know the professors, they know their friends, they know the clubs at the school. Sending them back is your biggest advocate, is hands down the best. Because it's interesting. When you're looking at a different company with enterprise computing and something where you might be applying to a job where you really don't know too much about what you'll be endeavoring if you get a job there, having a friend come back and say, oh, I was like him. I worked with him on projects. I feel like we'd be a good fit, and he liked the company. He adapted. I think I would also fit in well. So using new hires to send back to help find and garnish new talent that fits the mold of what you're looking for is a really essential way to help continue to grease that pipeline. And then once you make those connections and you connect with teachers, follow up with them. They would love to have you talk in the class. I've never yet gone from my own alma mater, Clarkson University, to different schools that I've actually just connected with the academic initiative, thanks to Christy, and worked with. It has just been overwhelming, their response to have industry people talk about what classes they found were valuable, what they're doing interested in the commercial environment versus academia, and just helping bridge that gap. So if you just reach out, I can almost guarantee that almost any school will happily embrace you, and you can start a synergetic environment where you can start talking and maybe visiting, not just on career day, but maybe a month ahead of time. So you can say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is who we are, and then when career day hits, you're in the students' heads. So without any further, I'd like to hand it off to Andrew, the other Andrew, to continue on.
Oh, one quick question. And how many kids have you brought in?
I've personally gotten 26 Clarkson University grads since I hired on 3 years ago.
Fantastic. Okay, now over to you.
Okay, so this is the other Andrew Meister from Ensono, and I'm going to talk about effectively onboarding prospective interns. So you've already got them hooked with the recruiting process, so now you need to start integrating them and building an environment that will easily integrate them into your current workforce. We can do that in several different ways. The first, of course, is creating a collaborative environment for success. This means that you don't have one go-to guy for every specific thing. You want to displace your knowledge bases. Make sure that you encourage your mentors to address questions from your interns by engaging them and leading them to different SMEs so that the knowledge can then be dispersed accordingly. And not just saying, oh, I'll go find out, and then coming back with the answers. That discourages communication between the different sources of information. Another way is to evaluate and place them in the best positions to thrive. I know personally when I was first coming in and under my mentor, he had me exposed to a lot of different divisions of the mainframe. So I had exposure to some DB2 or database environments. I had exposure to third-party software and client correspondences. And through that, I was able to find that I personally enjoyed the third-party software management and maintenance end of things. Likewise, I have a colleague who's also on this meeting, Stephen Boyd, who went into the storage side, and I can tell you with confidence that that wouldn't have been the right fit for me. So making sure that you take note of not only your interns' interests, but as well try to evaluate what you feel their best fit would be is very important. I know here at Ensono we have 124 different ISV vendors, and nobody knows all of them 100%. We need to share on those knowledge centers, which goes back to the first point of creating that collaborative environment. Third, outline realistic expectations and value from your interns. Make sure that it's clear what their job responsibilities will be and that those responsibilities aren't just paper pushing. You want them to feel engaged with their software and engaged with the day-to-day activities on the mainframe. That way they will be able to take ownership of those projects and they'll cultivate a need or a want to dig deeper into these things and further explore the mainframe as a whole. You don't want to make it confusing or frustrating either. A lot of what happened when I first came in as sort of the first intern here at Ensono, we hadn't gotten the formula right just yet. So I had to take it upon myself to ask a lot of questions to remove some of that obfuscation. And luckily, I had a mentor who was very encouraging in answering those questions, didn't just shoo me off like I've had in other positions. He worked with me. He saw those questions as valid, let me explore them, as well as going to other SMEs or subject matter experts to find the root solutions. And from that, I was able to get a larger understanding of the mainframe as a whole. One of the biggest parts, one of the most confusing parts of it for me was just navigating it. Coming from, Windows OS, the GUIs are much different. And then you also want to build a path, getting them engaged to feel and touch the mainframe. You want to give them purpose, which goes back into giving them a realistic and valuable goal to achieve. By giving them a project that they can invest time into and that has real merit, without hand-holding them or without giving them a project with no direction and just saying, figure it out, you will be able to sort of lead them down specific lines of thought which will encourage them to explore more. One of my early projects that I had was installing a third-party software on a client's mainframe, or LPAR. And their panels was different from the ones that I had initially engaged with. So what I had to do was, at first I asked my mentor, hey, why does this look different? But he encouraged me to dig deeper and to actually look at the commands that I was entering. And from that, I was able to get a sense of curiosity on what's deeper. If I do this option, how can I go even further? And that, I think, line of thinking, without giving, that line of thinking really encouraged me to dig very deep in the mainframe. Giving specific instructions and say, just do these commands and you'll be fine, discourages that exploration. And giving a large goal with no specific direction also means that you're sort of sitting in just nothingness, and you're waiting for someone to say, hey, this is how you do it. Ensuring these values will lead to the smoothest integration and retention of interns. To speak more on millennial retention, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Stephen Boyd.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate everyone staying with us thus far. My name is Stephen Boyd. I'm a mainframe system programmer for Ensono. I'd like to speak about the critical success factors for retention and really elaborate on the managerial aspect of retention for new associates to the company. There are multiple points that I'll actually elaborate on, but I want to make sure that I stress that this is a long-term goal. As we are bringing in new associates, we want to ensure that throughout the entire process of their growth, we understand what's within the margin and also what do they expect from us as the employers. To start off with, I'd like to talk about matching candidates based on their potential. Going off what Andrew was saying during the onboarding process, the mainframe itself is a conglomerate of different tasks and roles that anybody can fall into. To actually figure out what's going to be best for an associate, expose them to as many factors as possible, whether it be DB2, CICS, or even operations. The only way to really elaborate what a person can do is to be knowledgeable of what's the roles that are possible on this mainframe. Taking note of the affinities not necessarily from the technical aspect, but also non-technical skills that they can also bring into the environment. Whether or not they're having the affinity to learn or are really interested in, after going through each of the roles, what profession they may, what team they want to go to. When I first came to Ensono, one of the first tasks that were given to us was to actually go by each team and introduce ourselves. Nothing a high-level technical overview of what the team does, but more so get in contact with the members that we're going to actually work with and rely on in our future. Because of that interaction, I was actually placed within the storage team and later on into Harper configuration. Because of my affinity for, well, not even affinity, not just simply affinity, my interest in the mainframe hardware itself, how it's configured, how this correlates to all the other teams in terms of figuring their database systems and their environments to work with. 2, connecting candidates with an effective mentor. Every business, every mainframe business, every business in general has someone that they call the subject matter expert, as I just elaborated on before. These are your go-to guys for whenever an issue or information needs to be clarified for whatever instance. However, not all SMEs consider to be qualified to be a teacher. These are skills that will have to be. These are skills that should be brought up early on before actually bring on new associates. Create a curriculum and create a plan and research with your current staff to figure out what's the best way to interact with new hires and elaborate in a way in which someone who doesn't know the environment can easily learn. This is going on to making sure it's not too complicated. We have employees who have been working for years within this field who have certain terms or acronyms that are easily knowledgeable for anybody else who's in the business, but for me who came in, I didn't know what an LPAR was, I didn't know what SMPU was, but over time, and thankfully to the onboarding process, I was able to gradually learn through the structured format, and Ensono brings in all those new associates. And since then, we have actually increased our pull-through, our streamline for bringing new associates. In 2016, we started off with 5 new associates. In 2017, we doubled that to 10. The idea is to actually create a standard that brings in new associates at a guaranteed rate that will be easily integratable with our new processes and systems as we get in new clients and scale upwards for company growth. And setting clear-cut timing objectives and assignments. To help foster confidence with our new associates, give them tasks related to their skill level. Give them set goals that are easily attainable or even just attainable by themselves. Sure, we want to actually have them mentorship to actually get help. However, we want to help to strengthen the confidence that a little bit nervous here. Sorry for that. We want to make sure that the associates are given a view of what's the future going to hold. Give them constant updates, give them constant duties and objectives to go forth and build on their experience, ensures that they have upwards growth in the business unit. As development to increase your development in your investments, never stop learning. Never stop giving them opportunities to learn, and then, never stop giving them time to learn, and also use technologies to actually make sure that their environment is dynamic and current. Mainframe constantly goes through multiple iterations, multiple products. As you heard, we have over 160 ISV vendors, and along with that, we have thousands of tools to work with, thousands of new products. Constantly moving forward and keeping that dynamic sense of structure, make sure that none of the associates feel that they're in a static environment and thusly held on to one singular position. There's always growth within the company and within themselves to continue forward. Continuous and open communication. I cannot stress this enough. This is one of the cultural benefits. This is one of the cultural tenets that Ensono prides itself upon. Keeping a transparency between the client and the company ensures that we create loyalty with our new associates to make sure that we are able to move forward within our career path. The whole idea is to make sure that when a new associate comes in, is not going to be left into busy work or stuck at this particular field. The mainframe, you can jump from all over. More importantly, we want to see that the growth of the company is assured in our future. I've had multiple projects where, because of our transparency and our open communication, I know there will be halts, I know there will be hard times, but I have faith in my company because we have talked about this numerous times before anything comes up. This lets us know that there is competency up above us, and more assuredly that we are able to get to a point where if there ever is an issue, we're able to tackle it with clarity. This breeds camaraderie, and with camaraderie, you build a culture of excellence. Listen and adjusting and measure. Throughout the process of actually going through the transition of your new associates, there will be times where there may be disappointments or even praises. All these are featured in together. Take both the criticisms and praises from your associates as well as the people who are mentoring them. Understand that some things may work not necessarily as a fault to the curriculum, but more so maybe a testament to that person's character. And understand that there are different fields and avenues that they may actually work with. Every bit of information is invaluable. Over time, since I've been in Ensono, we've had the team that I started with to onboard has changed drastically. It seems that Andrew was the first wave, last year I was the second wave. We've gone through expanding the horizon of what is possible for new associates, from storage and software management into also experience with CICS, DB2, VM systems, broadening the scope of what is possible for that onboarding process, and also taking away certain responsibilities that may have been deemed too much. These are part of the growing pains with any company, but as long as we've had first into it and basically project what is possible for failure and accept that accept that margin and move forward with it, the lessons learned will be invaluable to the point where now the newer generation that has come after me, I can ask questions that I didn't know 3 months into the job. They already know. They're already surpassed what I've known in earlier times. And the fact that we're onboarding each year with more and more associates, bring them into these fields, battling the mainframe drain of talent, by bringing in new talent who are able to come forward and replace those roles with confidence is paramount. Now, I would like to actually pass over to Louisa, who's going to talk about the success factors for retention.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. So now for a perspective, from Millennial Perspective on retaining, here's a list of things that have made a difference for me this past 2 years here in IBM, and I know it also made a difference for other new hires here in IBM, just retaining them. So here, first on the list, I have hire in pairs at a minimum. If you can hire more than 2 at a time, the better. I know this might be a tough one, but it really does make a difference. For instance, when I came on board here in IBM, I also came along with a bunch of other new hires, and it made a difference because a lot of us, we were going through the same training, the same education. We were even facing some of the similar obstacles. So just having each other out, being able to relate to each other, help each other out through all of this made a difference. And we also had a group that were hired the years before, like Andrew Higgs, that they were there to give us advice, give us tips, and even help us out whenever they could. And not just that, but because we are just around the same age group, we're able to just create friendships and bonds, so that makes going into work just so much more fun. And I know Stephen here already spoke about mentoring, but I just want to reiterate the importance of it. To me, it really made a difference. When I got hired that first week on site, I was assigned a technical mentor that was right in the same team I was going to be working for, and their job was actually, part of it was to help me out to get on board, help me out with some of my assignments, and for me, it helped me feel more comfortable just knowing I could go to them for any question I have. And out of the team, my technical mentor is that person I have the closest bond. So even after 2 years, even though I don't go to them as often, whenever I have a question or I don't have an answer for something, this is the person I go to first. And besides technical mentors, we also have career mentors, where these people are not assigned to you, but you build those relationships along the way. And it's important because they help you discover like other career paths you may be interested in, or you can even have a bigger picture about your business and just get advice from different perspectives. For instance, like I have one technical mentor, like I mentioned, and I have a few business career mentors, which are in totally different areas where I'm currently working, but I love having those different points of views. Another one, which is also very important, is foster a positive environment, and sometimes this is not giving the importance it deserves, because for millennials, this could either make or break a job, because we want to work at a place where we feel comfortable, we could be ourselves, and we're surrounded by people that are willing to help us and give us support. So one way to do this is definitely to mentoring. Another way to foster a positive environment is to having team building activities. For instance, here in IBM, we have site events, we have team events. For instance, for my team, sometimes we have pie eating days, we have walking days that we all go out. We all go outside and take a walk, and this is great because we get to know each other. We form bonds. We help each other to just do that team building. And another thing we have here on site is the New Hire Network, which they focus on creating everything from education to networking events to social events. So that's another fun way to foster that positive environment. And that kind of leads me into the next point, which is ensure that creative atmosphere. You definitely want to keep your new hires engaged. Let that creative juices flowing. Make them think outside the box. And through the New Hire Network in the past years, we had some fun events, like we had hackathons. We had a Blue Mix hackathon. We had a Raspberry Pi hackathon, which Andrew Hicks right here, he helped host that. And it's a fun way to get engaged, to learn different things, to think outside the box, and just get you out of that routine. Another things we have, I know some teams here in IBM, we have something called Radical Recess, which once a month we're given around 2 hours, and we can work on different projects. So we can form teams, discover like other technologies, languages. So this is a fun way also to just keep our skills up to date and even like meet other people too. So a creative atmosphere is definitely important because, again, it keeps the new hires engaged. Another important one is offer continuous learning and career advancements. I know one thing that millennials, they always love is where they are in a job that offers them the opportunity to even pursue a master's. That will definitely let them make them stick around for a while. Also, here in IBM, we have different resources where we can go and just learn about different topics, kind of like technology, like networking, security, IoT. We can even take online courses. So all of that just keeps you learning and, again, keep your skills up to date. And career investment, make sure you let your new hires that there are opportunities to advance in their career. This is a big one because we definitely want to be at a place where we know we could advance in our career and keep us growing. And this will just keep them motivated and keep wanting to work harder. And provide leadership opportunities. Not all your new hires will want leadership opportunities, but find the ones that do and provide those opportunities. They will definitely appreciate it. And one way we do is, like I mentioned, the New Hire Network is led entirely by a group of new hires, so they definitely get their leadership opportunities to that. Sometimes we even have brown bag sections or lunch and learns, which sometimes are hosted by new hires, or even new hires, they give talks. So they definitely like that. They have the opportunity to build those skills. And the last one is send your new hires to conferences, C-Council meetings, dancing workshops. Definitely try to introduce them to the C community. I know as a millennial, I still remember the first time I went to a conference, and I got to meet other millennials that work on the mainframe. And to me, it was just amazing seeing how they love it as much as I do, and we have so much in common. And I love hearing their perspective and their experiences. So it's always great connecting with them. And not just that, but even meeting other people that's been working on the mainframe on C for a long time, kind of finding out how things have changed over time, it definitely gives you that different perspective. So these are some of the things that definitely has made a difference this past 2 years, and I definitely recommend them. So now I'm going to hand it over to Ken.
Thanks, Louisa. Due to the passionate and introspect from all our millennials today, we had some questions lined up. We're just going to try to get through the first one here at the very least and get a perspective from all of our panel today. So I'll start with Andrew Hicks at IBM. The same question: what advice would you give someone interested in hiring someone like you? What advice would you give potential employers?
Well, straight off the bat, one of the most interesting things about trying to find people is making sure you have different side projects and different ways to get engaged. I know myself, I've run a bunch of hackathons. I've done a lot of Raspberry Pi work. I've orchestrated into combining a lot of my master's research into the work I do here at IBM. So being able to be dynamic and work with a new hire and their interests and help incorporate that onto your platform and make that a skill set that you also add was really handy. To hire someone like me, I know when I heard that you could break code for a living, that you could think maliciously, I didn't know I could get a job like that. I would have never applied to IBM, wouldn't even thought of it, wouldn't have considered. And when they said, a friend came back and said, hey, I'm a system tester, I break the system for a living, my jaw just dropped. I walked right up and applied. And I'm sure there's many students out there who have done the software development track, liked building it, but had more fun testing and breaking their friends' programs, but that never was considered a valid option. And when you move into our enterprise-type endeavors and companies, that is something really cool you can do. So really talk about what you do as a whole, because I'm sure most of these companies could fit almost any student in the room. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. And Andrew Meister and Ensono, what advice would you give employers?
My advice to employers would be, similar to Andrew Hicks. One step is getting yourself out there with other programs. I feel like the other is attending job fairs. I wouldn't have found Ensono if I hadn't shown up to mine. But as I walked around handing out, my resumes to pretty much whoever would pick them up, Ensono actually engaged me and got me to talk to them a little while and say, oh, you're a computer science major, and have that, line of communication. And I'll be honest, that communication really helped me with my perspective on how I felt about Ensono. And just being able to have that was a really positive experience.
So, Stephen, let's go to you. So what advice would you give potential employers?
I would say transparency. Provides me the knowledge to say that where the company is going and that this is a plan that I can actually commit with, that in a few years, maybe 10 years, I still have a job that's able to provide and give me opportunity to expand myself and grow with it.
And still interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Louisa, finally, what about you? What advice would you give potential employers or someone interested in hiring you?
Okay. The advice I would give would be not to just focus or look for people with mainframe skills. I didn't have any mainframe skills. I didn't even know what a mainframe was. But just looking for certain qualities like willing to learn, like to challenge themselves, I think that's kind of key, because people that like challenging themselves and want to learn new things are definitely going to enjoy a job in the C or the mainframe.
And that's excellent advice. That's something that I always tell clients, that when you're posting a job, if you're just going to put in the acronyms JCL, DB2, you're really going to eliminate a huge pool of terrific talent. So I love that piece of advice, is really put out there what you're looking for, that you want problem solvers, team players, people who are interested and have a passion for learning are keys.
Absolutely agree.
Yep. The other thing that I would advise, and this is kind of, again, is focus on the non-technical skills, just as important as the technical skills in terms of engaging, communication, self-direction, and really really having that challenge out there to go out there and learn new things. So with that, Janine, let's open it up to some questions from the outside if we have some time.
We do have some time, not a lot. So before we get into that, I just want to let folks know if you asked a question and did not have your question answered, know that someone will reach out to you via email. Let's take this one then, and actually Louisa might have just touched on it. How do you convince young professionals that they should get involved in the mainframe field?
This is Andrew Hicks. I'd say it's just talking about what we do, and like you can start off with showing them the Master Mainframe project to get them get them acquainted with what we're doing. But I'd say just even asking them any problem they're working on with their current computer science curriculum, and then talking how we apply into it. When I was at grad school, I was doing work on hypervisor migration, and I had studied up and down on all these different hypervisors. I came to IBM and learned about what we do with Hyperswap, and it blew my mind. It was like better than anything I could have imagined. So I say to like engage them. A lot of the technologies we use are very engaging and like the right way to do something, and they just might not be common knowledge to the student. So seeing what they're interested in, and then see how the mainframe would interact with an instance like that, and then just inform them, and they might just fall right into place.
Thanks, Andrew. Gosh, I feel like we could just go on, and the hour has just flown by. And unfortunately, that's all we have time for. But I want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar, and I especially want to thank Ken and Christy and all of the panelists that just did such a fantastic job. Thanks for sharing your expertise and your perspectives with us today. And later this week, we'll be sending out a link to the recording of today's webinar to everyone on the call, as well as to anyone who registered, but for whatever reason couldn't make it today. That concludes our webinar. Thanks again, and have a great day.
Thanks for the opportunity, Janine.
Thank you. Thank you.